Alright guys, so we are back this week. We are starting with area of regular polygons, but there are a few things I need to go over. The first is that now your work has due dates. All the work for this week is going to be due Sunday by 11:59 p.m. What this means for you is that if you like to wait till last minute to do your work, that's fine as long as it's done by the deadline. If you want to do all your work on Monday and be done for the week, that's your choice too. I'm also creating a suggestive weekly agenda for you, breaking it down to make it more manageable. You can follow that if you like. You don't have to though. I will continue posting videos for your notes, and your assignments will be through Google Classroom. Most of them are Google Slides. There will be some Google Forms for like quizzes and stuff like that, or exit tickets. But basically nothing is changing. You are still going to be taking pictures and uploading your work. So don't think you can just click random answers or get your answers from a friend, because I do look at that work to give you credit. If you have no work, you do not get credit. Alright, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, this first video for this week is area of regular polygons. We've done area of triangles, area of parallelograms, including squares, rectangles, areas of trapezoids, and then the last topic we've covered was area of circles and sectors. So now we're going on to area of regular polygons. Remember, I did write this stuff beforehand, so I'm just basically reading it to you, giving you a little explanation. Make sure you pause the video if you don't have it written down. These are going to be really important notes to have. So the first thing you need to know is what a regular polygon is. And this is a polygon. Remember, polygon is just another word for shape that has all sides and angles congruent. So like an equilateral triangle, a square. But it goes on to all of our other shapes as well. So we do have a formula, of course. The formula is area is equal to 1/2. And we have this little a right here. This little a stands for apothem times this big P, and that stands for perimeter. So I did give you an alternate formula. They have A and P in it, or it has A and P in it as well. It still means apothem and perimeter, and you can use either one. So the first one is A is equal to 1/2 apothem times perimeter. And the second one, A is equal to apothem times perimeter divided by 2. Remember, that big A stands for area. So remember, again, both formulas are the same thing. It's just a preference. You also need to remember, which is this has been in other formulas, if you have letters next to each other, here we have little a with the big P. All that means is you are multiplying those letters, which will become numbers together. So just for some vocab, apothem and perimeter are new to us because we haven't used it. The apothem goes from the center of the polygon or shape and is perpendicular to a side. Remember, it doesn't matter which side because all of the sides are the same. It's a regular polygon. They all measure the same length. The second one is perimeter, which I'm sure you've heard of and dealt with before. You add up all the sides to get the perimeter. But since we are dealing with regular polygons, regular shapes, you can multiply the side length given by the number of sides since they're all the same size. So just so you can see, I did provide some drawings. The first one is a triangle. So if you look here, we have 3 sides that are the same. It's an equilateral. That apothem is in the center of the triangle. It comes straight down and creates that 90-degree angle with the side. That line, this one going vertical, is your apothem. So same thing. We have our square here. We have the center. The line comes straight down, makes a 90-degree angle, and it's the apothem. And then finally you have a pentagon. It starts in the center, straight down, makes the right angle, and there's the apothem. Now we have dealt with this prefix table before. I'm going to go ahead and redo it with you just in case you forgot what these prefixes mean. If you don't need them, you don't have to write them, but it's just up to you. Remember, tri means 3, so this is a shape or polygon with 3 sides. Quad is 4. Pent is 5. Hex is 6. The next one is hept or sept. That stands for 7. The next one is oct, which is 8. Non, so N-O-N, is for 9 sides. Dec is 10. And dodec is 12. Remember, if you have an in gone, that means it has in sides. So whatever number that is how many sides it has. So here we go. We have our first example. If you notice, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a pentagon. I'm going to go ahead with my formula. A equals And I'm using little a, the apothem, times big P, the perimeter, divided by 2. When I look here, the only thing I'm given for sure is the apothem and a side length. So I can fill in my area is equal to, my apothem is now 5.1. But I don't know big P yet. I only know one side length. Remember, I told you how to find the perimeter if you're given your side. You take, so big P is equal to, I take my side length, 7.5, and I'm going to multiply it by however many sides there are since this is regular. So 7.5 times 5 gives me 37.5. So now back to our formula. Our area is equal to, I still have 5.1 times my perimeter is now 37.5, and it's all divided by 2. At this point, you can plug it all into your calculator. When you plug this in, you should get approximately 95.63 for your area of this regular pentagon. Alright, so your area is equal to apothem times the perimeter divided by 2. I need to look at this figure and decide what my apothem is. And if you look from the center, makes a straight line, a 90-degree angle, I tell you it is 5. My perimeter, though, I need to take my side length, which is 10, and I need to count the sides. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So my perimeter is going to be 10 times 6, which is 60. So now my area is equal to, my little a, my apothem is 5 times my perimeter, which is 60, divided by 2. When you do 5 times 60, you end up with 300 divided by 2, and I know that my area is 150. Alright, so this example, I do want you to go ahead and try on your own. What I'm going to do is I'm only going to write the final area answer. Make sure you got my answer. If you didn't, you need to send me a text or remind, comment on Google Classroom, on the YouTube video. We need to figure out where we went wrong. So when you do this all, you should end up with your area as 874.8. Remember, if you did not get that, check your work, check your calculator work, and then ask me a question if you still don't know where you went wrong. Alright, so I am going to do example 4 with you because I did throw in some radicals just for fun. So still, area is apothem times perimeter divided by 2. So here, my apothem is the square root of 2. Just because it has a radical doesn't mean it changes. Now my perimeter, I know I have 4 sides, and I'm going to multiply it by that side length, 4 root 2. Remember, with these, we only multiply what is alike. Since this 4 doesn't have a radical, we're only going to do 4 times 4, which is 16, and then we're going to drop down that square root of 2. So my formula looks like the square root of 2 times 16 root 2 divided by 2. Again, we multiply what's alike. So since 16 isn't under the square root, we can't multiply the square root of 2 by it. But I can multiply my 2 square roots of 2 together. When that happens, I get 16, and the square root sign goes away, and I'm just left with what's underneath it. And I still have divided by 2. 16 times 2 is 32. Divided by 2 gets us back to 16. If you wanted to, you could have canceled out the 2's and just been left with 16. So the area of example 4 is just 16. These next 4 examples are word problems. Word problems seem to be what we struggle with the most, so I wanted to make sure we hit them pretty hard. So example 5, I ask you to find the area of a regular pentagon with an apothem of 7.3 meters and a side length of 10.6 meters. So here, it is a regular pentagon, so I know my formula is A equals apothem times perimeter divided by 2. In my word problem, I'm given that my apothem is 7.3 meters. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in what I know. So I have my little a apothem is equal to 7.3, but I don't know what my perimeter is. I do know I have a side length of 10.6, so I'm going to go ahead and write that 10.6. And remember, we were taking our side length and multiplying it by the number of sides. This is when those prefixes really come in handy. I have a pentagon. You need to know that pent means 5. So I know my perimeter will be 10.6 times 5. So my perimeter ends up being 53. I can now go plug into my formula. Area is 7.3 times 53, all divided by 2. The top part of my fraction simplifies to 386.9 divided by 2. And when I do that last step in my calculator, I find out that my area is 193.45 meters squared. Example 6 says the area of a regular pentagon is 74.25 inches. If the apothem is 2.7 inches, find the length of one side. These are the word problems and examples that have really been stumping people. So I am going to show you how to do these. These are working backwards, and for some reason we're not too hot in that area. So you always want to figure out which formula you're using. It says a regular pentagon, so I'm using my regular polygon formula. A equals apothem times perimeter divided by 2. I know I keep saying this over and over again, and then I keep telling you the formula, but it's really important that you know this. I keep saying it, so obviously you need to know it. So I'm going to take what I know from my word problem. I know the area is 74.25. So big A is 74.25. Apothem is 2.7. So little a is 2.7. And I'm looking for the length of one side. So now I'm going to start working on going backwards. I can plug stuff in. Like I said, I know my area is 74.25. And that's equal to my apothem, 2.7 times the perimeter divided by 2. We've done this before, like with the area of triangles. I put the left side over 1 because I want to cross multiply. I want to do 74.25 times 2. That gives me 148.5. And that's going to be equal to, I multiply the other 2, and it's just 2.7 p. I need to go ahead and get p by itself, so I'm going to divide by whatever is attached to it. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2.7. When I do that, it cancels out on the right side, and I'm just left with the perimeter. And 148.5 divided by 2.7 gives me 55. So I know my perimeter, but if you look at the problem, I asked to find the length of one side. So I know that since this is regular, I took all the sides lengths and multiplied it by however many sides there are. If I look here, I have a pentagon. You again need to remember that pentagon is 5. So I know 5 times the side length gives me the perimeter. And here I know that 5 times, I'm going to call this x now, is equal to 55. That is what we just found up here. So my last step would be to divide both sides by 5. And I would find out that x is 11, and I told you I replaced side length with x. So I know my side length for this pentagon, this regular pentagon, is 11. So example 7, find the area of a regular heptagon with an apothem of 7 root 3 and a side length of 16 root 3. So area is equal to apothem times perimeter divided by 2. I know my apothem is 7 root 3, and my perimeter, a heptagon, is 7 sides multiplied by its side length, which is 16 root 3. I multiply 7 and 16, and when I do that, it gives me 112. So I know my perimeter is 112 root 3. I'm going to go ahead and write it in my formula. So 7 root 3 is my apothem times my perimeter, which is 112 root 3. And remember, we still divide that all by 2. I'm going to multiply what is alike. So 7 times 112 gives me 784. And when I do the square root of 3 times the square root of 3, it technically gives me the square root of 9. But you should also know that the square root of 9 is 3. Remember, the square root signs go away when you multiply two of the same numbers. So 784 times 3 divided by 2. 784 times 3 gives me 2352. And your last step would be to divide that by 2. So I know my area of this heptagon is 1,176. In your last example, example 8, I ask you to find the apothem of an equilateral triangle with an area of 36.21 and a side length of 7.1. So here I'm still going to write my formula. Area equals apothem times perimeter divided by 2. I know that there is an area, so big A is 36.21. And I know my side length, so I'm going to call it S, is 7.1. But I need my apothem, which is what I'm searching for, and my perimeter. So perimeter is the side length times the number of sides. This is an equilateral triangle. You should know that tri, if you don't, is 3. So 7.1 times 3 gives me 21.3. I can now start plugging in to find my missing apothem. When I do that, I replace my big A, my area, with 36.21. And it's going to be equal to, I don't know what my apothem is yet, but I do know my perimeter is 21.3, and it's still divided by 2. I am going to rewrite this. 36.21 is equal to, and I'm just putting that 21.3 in front, A divided by 2. I put the left side over 1, and again we cross multiply. So 36.21 times 2 gives me 72.42, and it's equal to, I cross multiply the other two, 21.3a. In order to get that a to find my apothem, I have to divide by whatever is attached to it. So when I do that, I'm going to divide both sides by 21.3. It cancels out on the right side, so I'm left with my apothem is 72.42 divided by 21.3, and when you plug that in, you get 3.4. Alright, so this lesson is pretty rough and tough if you don't know what you are doing. There is an assignment, a Google Slides assignment, that's like what we've been doing. You have to type your answers in on the slide and then send pictures on the assignment submission of your work. Otherwise, you won't get credit. Tomorrow, I am doing an all area review. So if you have not watched any videos before this, it's your lucky day. I'll be doing a crash course in it all tomorrow. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, keep working, hang in there. Come to my Zoom sessions. You can play like Hangman or something, or tic-tac-toe. But let's try to make the best of this, and I hope you're all doing well.